So hey students, welcome to NCERT Solutions by Vedantu, where we find solutions to all your problems which is given in your NCERT. This is Basavaraj, I'm a biology master teacher. Now, today also we have a question. We have a question from the chapter Human Reproduction. Let's look at the question. Let's solve it together. Let's see the question. They're asking us what is oogenesis. Give a brief account of oogenesis. Oogenesis is a process of formation of your ovum. Oogenesis is a process, is a type of gametogenesis where the females produce the egg or the ovum. Now let's quickly look at the what is the different steps in the oogenesis. The oogenesis, first and foremost, the oogenesis start at the embryonic stage. Oogenesis starts at the embryonic stage. At the embryonic stage itself, the oogenesis starts. That is a female fetus. Before the fetus itself, at the embryonic stage, the female will have lot of structures known as oogonia. And these oogonia are present in millions of number as a result of mitosis. Because of mitosis, millions of oogonia are present, and after the birth of the child, no more oogonia are added. So whatever the oogonia which is present initially at the embryonic stage, the same number of oogonia will be there. No more addition. Subtraction will happen, but no more addition of oogonia after the embryonic stage. Now this oogonia, this is before the birth. All this is happening before the birth. That is, oogonia starts to undergo meiosis 1. Let me change the color, it will be easy for you to understand. So the oogonia which is present in the embryonic stage, which is the result of mitosis, a lot of oogonia has been formed. Now one such oogonia starts to differentiate. Once such oogonia starts to differentiate now, right? Once it starts to differentiate, it grows in size. Once such oogonia starts to differentiate and grows in size, we know it as primary oocyte. The primary oocyte is a structure which undergoes, right? Oogonia undergoes differentiation, it grows in size. We know it as primary oocyte. Now this primary oocyte starts to undergo meiosis 1. This primary oocyte starts to undergo first meiosis, that is meiosis 1, but it does not finish the meiosis 1, that is, it gets arrested at prophase 1 at diploidine stage. Prophase 1 at diploidine stage, the process has been completely stopped. That is, the primary oocyte starts to undergo meiosis 1 but does not finish meiosis 1. In fact, it gets arrested at prophase 1 at diploidine stage. Now once it gets arrested here, right? It's arrested now. Your primary oocyte is arrested. Then that is the birth of the child. The child will grow. The child reaches puberty. Once the female child reaches the puberty, the meiosis 1 which had started before the birth of the child, the meiosis 1 which had started before the birth of the child finally finishes. So the meiosis 1 which has started here, the meiosis 1 which had started before the birth of the child will be finished when the female child reaches puberty. So finally, when the female child reaches puberty, the first meiotic division, the first meiosis 1 is completed, which results in the formation of the secondary oocyte, and also the first polar body. Now this secondary oocyte, we know meiosis has two stages, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So this secondary oocyte starts to undergo meiosis 2. This secondary oocyte starts to undergo meiosis, but again it does not finish the second meiosis. In fact, it also gets arrested at metaphase 2. I'll repeat again, the secondary oocyte starts to undergo meiosis 2, but it does not finish meiosis 2. In fact, it gets arrested at the metaphase 2. Then, when does it finish, sir? When does the meiosis 2 is over? The meiosis 2 is completed here. The meiosis 2 is completed only when during the fertilization. When the sperm comes in contact with the ovum. When the sperm comes in contact with the ovum or the secondary oocyte, not the sperm, the secondary oocyte which is present inside the Graafian follicle, when the sperm comes in contact with the secondary oocyte, the meiosis 2 is completely finished, and which results in the formation of the second polar body and also the ovum. So when does the second meiosis get over? Second meiosis is finished only when the sperm comes in contact with the ovum. That's right. Now that is your your oogenesis. Now here you need to understand little structures about your folliculogenesis also. So for that you need to understand primary oocyte is surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells. Secondary oocyte is surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells. Granulosa cells. Now these granulosa, once the primary oocyte is surrounded by granulosa cells, this is called as primary follicle. It's called as primary follicle. Now this primary follicle gets surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells. This is called as secondary follicle. Primary follicle to secondary follicle. Primary follicle to secondary follicle. One thing to be noted here, both primary as well as secondary follicle, both primary as well as secondary follicle has primary oocyte. It has what? It has primary oocyte is present. Primary oocyte is present inside primary as well as secondary follicle. Now the secondary follicle starts to form a fluid filled cavity. Secondary follicle forms a fluid filled cavity and a new theca is found, and that is called as your tertiary follicle. That is called as what? Tertiary follicle. And inside the tertiary follicle, we find secondary oocyte. Inside tertiary follicle we find secondary oocyte, and subsequently tertiary follicle becomes Graafian follicle, which eventually ruptures open and releases the ovum. There it is, the complete oogenesis. If you have any doubt under oogenesis, go check out my video on Vedantu NEET English, where I have completely described the oogenesis, spermatogenesis, complete human reproduction I have completed. Go check out my videos there. That is human reproduction marathon. Or if you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. I will clear it for you. Until then, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss any content on this channel, because me, that is I, Basavaraj, master teacher biology, I'll make sure all the content is covered here. So until next time.